Today's video is all about ARC, the AI rig complex. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive looking into the fundamentals such as the team, the tokenomics, the utility, and the overall value proposition, trying to figure out whether this project has what it takes to make it to our portfolio. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. And of course, the question is ARC, the big rig complex, an opportunity? Guys, we're going to be doing a deep dive. We're going to be looking at some of the fundamentals here. At the end of the day, guys, we need to be doing research on some of these projects because, of course, the altcoin market at the current moment is giving us tons of opportunities, and a lot of us are questioning what we should be looking at right now, what should we be researching, what we should be focusing on. And we know that there are various narratives that are picking up pace that are looking pretty interesting, and AI is definitely one of those narratives. And ARC, the rig complex, does fit within that narrative. It fits within that idea that we are moving forward, society is moving forward with the AI narrative. Okay, so let's jump right into this, guys. We're going to be using the website primarily as our main platform to kind of navigate the project, number one. Number two, the complete deep dive is going to be focused on newcomers, individuals that don't know much about crypto. We're going to be taking it from a crypto perspective, a token perspective, and of course, just trying to make sure that the clarity is here for all of us that are new to this space, and just trying to make sense of it all. And that's about it. Deep dives are important, particularly the new individuals coming in. It's really great to come in from a retail perspective. All right, guys, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. We have a couple of things right here on the landing page. Pretty interesting, very nice. A nice smiley face with a bit of graphics. Rhizome early access and is live, guys. We'll talk about that in a second. Of course, we can keep on going down. Take the red pill, then the blue pill. We have a contract address, a note. It says pump at the end. Pump at the end. What does that mean, guys? We'll dig into that in a second. And then we have the light papers and more, and we'll obviously continue moving on there. Now, you can see that's the ending of the landing page. There's not much. We have a few ecosystem partners. Solana, okay, so that gives you that clue that it's Solana-based. And with that being said, what is their involvement in Solana? Most of the times we don't get much information, and I would like to say that the only thing that we really have here with regards to Solana involvement is that it's potentially part of the incubator program, getting a bit of funding, getting a bit of, advice and this and that, trying to help, ARC do well. And this is what the Solana Foundation does. It's not Solana in itself, the blockchain that is involved. Remember, Solana as a blockchain is a completely decentralized scenario. There's no, a team that is going to be carrying ARC or promoting ARC or anything like that. There's a Solana Foundation, which is a separate identity than Solana itself per se. So this could be a little bit deceiving. Just make sure you understand what the Solana Foundation's main idea is to incubate. It's basically an incubator program. We have Send AI, a few other little names here, and I've clicked on all of them, guys. I'm not going to get you through that, but if you click on them, they take you to their website and so on. I would have loved to know more about, what exactly the partnerships are about, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get much information with regards to all of these. And you have Arbitrum again. I would like to know how Arbitrum is involved here. As an L2. For Ethereum, I'm curious as to how this plays out for the future, what this actually means. And again, I try to scrape through the internet to see what exactly it's about. There's not much documentation there that's readily available for the average person. Now, again, that's a disadvantage here, because if it's something bullish, if it's something interesting, it would be ideal to have a little bit of a post on their blog regarding each and every one of these partners. But unfortunately, I couldn't find anything. Now, let's continue, guys. Let's continue. As you guys know, I have a few tabs already prepared for you guys. So let's continue. This is the light paper. Okay, so as we scroll through, we're going to expect to get a lot of information, and we do. I'll admit we do. The light paper is, well written, but it's not very technical in the sense that it's very long-winded, and does a great job explaining the sentiment and the reasoning behind ARC and all of that kind of stuff. But it's not very very technical in the sense straight to the point to tell you exactly what's going on. It really does sell the value proposition though, so I do appreciate that from that aspect. So there's a couple of things that you may want to read up on, like what is a agentic AI era, autonomously, basically allowing the AI agents to plan autonomously, coordinate, and execute real-world tasks, transforming how work gets done. So basically, what it's trying to say here is that there's a new era, an era of which AI agents need to get involved or should get involved in our daily lives via the Web 2. In addition, the Web 3 that is coming around the corner. So that means Web 2, that means existing platforms, whether it be X or other social media platforms, or even Amazon, as a purchasing, as a marketplace for doing shopping and this and that. So is there an ability, is there a way that we can get our agents all involved, even in our banking systems and so on and so forth? So this is where things start to get into what is AI and what is an AI agent. An agent would be, in this case, an assistant that can do things online in a virtual environment, and this is where this era kicks in. ARC token is the fuel. So if you're looking at it, ARC as the token, even in all caps, as the ticker, what is it used for? And I'm going to try to stick with that premise, because there's a fine line between being a tokenized, scenario where you have a project, a tech project that is introducing a currency, and then you have a tech project that's just putting a token on it to raise capital. And this is where things start to get a little bit hectic, because if the value proposition of the project is great, but the utility of the token is not there, then what's the point of having a token? What's the point of the team slapping a token on it? And this is where we're going to try our best to kind of like untangle that and see if it's actually a valid use case of a token, if it was actually necessary. Rhizome, agentic app store, quite interesting, of course. And what does this mean? What is the purpose of Rhizome? So their ecosystem is, could be a little bit confusing, all the various names. You have rigs and rhizomes and this and that, and of course a little bit of education is necessary there, but who is in charge of educating the market? In this case, it would be the team. The people behind here really need to put their effort on to be clear about what Rhizome is. Arc powers Rhizome, the universal app store for agentic AI, connecting intelligent agents with thousands of digital services. So what Rhizome is a platform of where apps can be bought and sold. And of course, that's a marketplace. But more so, what Rhizome does is it reduces the friction from these, let's call them applications or AI agents, from actually connecting to each other and other networks within Web 2 and Web 3. So reducing that friction. And I find that to be great, because when you standardize things through a universal store, or in this case, yes, store app, or something like that, what happens is it allows all the applications to run seamlessly. And I think that's an interesting concept here, because that's a lot of friction. We have different standards across many different platforms, whether it be even based on language, computing language, or infrastructure, whatever the case is. So ensuring that everything just works together, that's what Rhizome kind of like tries to address. And we'll talk about that in a second. I'll show you what Rhizome is. It's again, it was on the link on, it was a banner at the top of the screen on the homepage. It just it's in beta testing, I believe, right now. It's just getting released, so there's a lot to be had there. A lot of development still in the works, and I believe based on the roadmap, that's where they're currently at, is focusing on Rhizome. Universal connectivity, this is part of the whole Rhizome idea. It creates a standardized interface for agents to access both Web 2 and Web 3 services. That's exactly what I just tried to explain. Economic sustainability, revenue distribution. So this is interesting. Tokenomics wise, the project is pretty much almost fully diluted, which all token, majority of them are already in circulation. And then all rewards or revenue generated, they're going to be redistributed redistributed. Okay, so 85% go to service providers, so individuals that create AI agents or AI agent, let's call them rigs. And in that case, those rigs, if people use them, there's transactions, and those transactions through Rhizome, generate fees and generate revenue, and the revenue gets redistributed to the service providers, which are the individuals creating AI rigs. Okay, so 10% of to ARC growth. So I'm assuming here the team is going to take full control of this. There's no indication to me that there is a DAO or some sort of governance or anything like that with regards to the utility of the token. So if you hold the token, you could use it as a voting mechanism. I don't see any of that. It would be ideal. And I know that a lot of projects think just because they're fully diluted and all, it's a fairly fair launch, no need for decentralizing, the organization. And I think that it does attract individuals that want to get involved, and it makes them feel a part of the organization and decentralize the authority, even if it's only, a small portion of the capital that might be controlled through the DAO, or even if it's just the decision making. Some of the main ideas, like maybe this website is a bit too noisy. And on a side note, I do feel it's a bit noisy, especially when you're trying to read certain things with all the little graphics in the background, the ASCII art. It looks great, it looks cool, but I think it's hard to read. So who makes these decisions? It's the team. It would be nice to allow token holders to have a little bit of that, a voting power with regards to being holding the token and being involved directly with some of the decision making. 5% operational costs, so various costs to keep things loaded. Of course, that's the case. And with that being said, its infrastructure may have some operational costs. And I'm assuming that part of it being its infrastructure, its back-end infrastructure. So, guys, a lot of the times when I think of these things, especially with AI, I'm very critical because we know that data is the most valuable thing at the current moment. It's the most valuable commodity that we can have is data, and mining the data and storing the data and keeping it safe and secure, and all of that is very, very, very important. Now, knowing this, how does AI projects such as ARC or Complex allow the user, the individuals that are involved here within the ecosystem, to retain control over their own personal data? And for me, it's all about infrastructure, so back-end infrastructure. And I would like to say that they do not use a DPIN infrastructure. So their infrastructure is run by AWS. This was confirmed by one of the team members. And for me, this is a bit of a problem because it's not a decentralized infrastructure. If AWS goes down, for whatever the case may be, your AI agent goes down with it. If they don't pay the bill, whatever the case may be, someone forgot or had a bad date, and then all of a sudden, okay, AWS is down, so does your AI agent. So there's a level of centralization with regards to the tech that I don't appreciate. However, a lot of these new projects, particularly AI, and a lot of the launch pads, because at the end of the day, this is kind of like an AI agent launch pad. A lot of these launch pads run off of AWS, and my extensive research within the narrative has confirmed that there's only a few that have a DPIN infrastructure, and we talk about these here on the channel significantly, but it's not the point. The point is that new projects find safety in stable, secure infrastructures that already exist, and they're very centralized, but they allow the team to focus on their core competencies, which is AI, not DPIN. But again, would a relationship or a partnership with a DPIN infrastructure help here? 100%. It could be. It doesn't mean that they need to have their own DPIN infrastructure, but they could definitely get involved with a project that already has something ready to go. Maybe it's in the works. Maybe there's something that they're looking at. That's that. Real world impact transforms theoretical AI capabilities into practical automation, delivers tangible benefits to users. And this is another thing, guys. While we have some of this topic of centralization at hand, one of the biggest criticisms for AI agents, for me personally, is that their API requirements for all these Web3 service providers, or and for the automation. Okay, let's use let's say social media as an example. X changes its API every few months. Something happens. There's an update. There's a this. There's a that. It's unfortunate. It's expensive. It's and so on. And who takes responsibility to maintain the API's active, readability and make it active, ensure that it's working for all the AI agents? Well, at this current moment, it's the team. So we're relying on the team to keep the infrastructure, the back end infrastructure, awake and alive. And not only that, we're depending on the team to keep some of those connectivities, like the AI, like the APIs for some of these third-party services, alive and ready to go, or else our AI agents won't work. And I had this experience with other AI agents already, that there could be a couple of days of downtime because the APIs are gone. Now, it's not necessarily that this is completely the fault of these AI agent platforms, because again, if there's no support and something happens, we just got to be patient for X to do what they got to do to fix things. I get it, but just the fact that there is that choke point is a little bit bothersome when you talk about Web3 applications. Okay, so just throwing it out there. There's a level of centralization in all projects. I'm just trying to highlight what the decentralized aspects are and the centralized aspects are. Let's continue. Context, playground. So there's a couple of things, again, vocabulary that you got to get used to. And even myself, I was reading this for the last 3 days and trying to understand. I think I got my head around it pretty well. Two complementary pillars that support Arc's vision. And I think there's more. Again, I think there's more here, but it's the RIGS, Rust-based AI framework called RIGS. So Rust is a language. It's a up-and-coming language. It's a Solana-based. Solana uses a derivative of Rust to to program its smart contracts, and because Arc is part of that network, Rust it is, right? So it's called RIG. They program rigs and AI agents, in other words, and it's not just a complete agent that you program. It could be just like a utility that an agent can use in order to build an actual agent, right? So if there's something out there that you want to create, you can create like a functionality that a AI agent could use, and then eventually when you want to create your agent, you can use that functionality, like again in this example, tapping into the Meta API, so for Instagram or whatever it is. Okay, so this is part of the rig, creating rigs and connecting them together and being able to augment them and improve them and build into a rig, where your rig becomes an AI agent that can do many things across various platforms, across various utilities seamlessly, and honestly, like, create a scenario where this AI agent acts as an individual that can do everything that is well connected. It sounds complex. It kind of is, but with their architecture, with their mindset, with their idea, they're able to connect various components together that are built, and then you create these rigs and playgrounds. So the team and a commercial engine behind both Rig and Arc ecosystem. This is what it's all behind, the Arc ecosystem. Rigs act as the technical backbone, okay, offering high performance foundation for building next generation agents that can handle complex tasks in real time. Playgrounds focus on incubating. So basically, when we talk about incubation, it's like literally trying to help a project hatch and to become bring an idea into something usable. So it's particularly specialized AI products, forming partnerships and cultivating serious development community. So this is where these playgrounds can actually flourish new ideas within the AI agent space. Each new service introduced into the Arc ecosystem feeds into a growing library of composable tools, making it easier for developers to build on each other's work without starting from scratch. So you got to think about building blocks, and then you get these building blocks and you build these rigs, type of thing. So pretty interesting. I like the idea. idea. You're able to create your custom AI agent based on a marketplace of different little components and all of this. I've seen this idea before, and it's not, it's kind of new, but I've seen it before, like I said. And then you have the Rhizome, introducing the Rhizome, the University Agentic App Store built on Arc Foundation. So Rhizome extends Arc's mission by connecting AI agents to both Web 2 and Web 3 digital services and enables seamless payment flow through Arc token. So again, this is where it's like, okay, Web 3 is one thing. And even still, there's some friction cross-chain and all of that. But Web 2, there's tons of friction via API and all of this kind of stuff. Even IP address and geographical locations and all this kind of things. So for me, that's a tall task. Like, definitely, there's something to be said there. And the only way really to achieve that is to have somebody in charge taking care of that. I can't fathom that the idea that currently there's a decentralized way of tackling the API problems. The dawn of agentic AI, from novelty to necessity. Again, there's a lot of talk here. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of explanation and all of that. Guys, feel free to read all of this. Again, I'm not gonna get into that. There's a lot of explanation of what Rhizome is and this and that. Yeah, it's cool, but again, it's something that I'm not going to get into here on the live on the video because the video is going to be very long. Bootstrapping, okay, Rhizome in action. Again, what does it do? We talked about that. Yeah, read through it, guys. That's about it. Now, the roadmap. What is exactly is it? What phase are they in? I think this could be slightly outdated, as I believe that they're more gearing in or entering phase 2, in my opinion. So they got the handshake program, which can be defined up here if you want to know about it. Handshake program gives developers the funding and support they need to turn ideas market ready AI services. So almost like that playground incubator idea. So keep that in mind. And they have that going, the Arc registry, the Rhizome beta. So Rhizome is already out there kind of in beta, maybe V1 launch. Arc payments are coming in, extended partner onboarding. I would like to know more about that, of course. And Arc V2, we're not there. So, I think that we're transitioning from phase 1 to phase 2 at the current moment. That's what I believe. And then they have some ideas of what to expect for 2026. Time flies, guys. Universal hub for AI services, the very generic idea, obviously. They want to be a universal hub for all AI services. And, that's what you got to think about it as, a marketplace for services, and then being able to construct these AI agents. And based on the construction and the functions that you use to construct this AI agent, there's going to be transactional fees and transactional opportunities that allow people to earn and things like that. So that's pretty much it. The network effect grows. We know that as there's more projects and more use case and more reason to come on and build your own AI agent, and because of the available services that they have to build those AI agents, there's going to be more use case for being a token holder. That's the reality. Is why do you want to use or hold Arc? Because Arc is a token that is necessary to get involved on the rig within the complex ecosystem. So right now the ecosystem is very small. It's still very in beta. There's not really much to show for what's really happening. However, it's the speculation of the future value that a lot of people right now are looking at, okay? Because we know that AI and AI agents have a lot of a future. The question is, is Arc going to be the one leading the way here? Again, this is up to you guys. I'm just here to present information and give you some back-end ideas of what the tech is all about. So that's pretty much it, guys. Feel free to read it. I think it's an interesting read. It does explain quite a bit if you don't know what it is with regards to the industry a little bit and its value proposition, how it tries to, solve some of the real-world problems that we do have. And obviously, as a software solution company, it does offer some interesting some interesting things. Now, I did say the word company, and we're going to talk about the team and all of that in a second. Let's move on. Let's see what we got here. It talks about its architecture. So Anthropic, DeepSeek, Gemini. There's a lot. OpenAI, and there's a lot here. And now, what does that mean? These are all models, AI models that they use, where language learning models or any other type of models. This is what they integrate, and they integrate quite a few of the most common, of course. Rig frameworks, the foundational Rust-based system. But just keep in mind, I just want to throw this out there, none of these are decentralized. So again, OpenAI has a tight control over its use case. Okay, so this is where, again, a nice partnership would be great to get involved with a model that is decentralized. And instead of relying on OpenAI's APIs and all of their restrictions and all of this and that and controls, it would be nice to have a partnership there to step away from all of these. But again, the quality of these agents right now, or these models, are quite high. So I understand their integrations. Rig framework, the foundational Rust-based system, we talked about that. The R complex is a cyborg collective where developers and AI agents collaborate to build an enhanced rig. So this is what it is. You basically collect different, different services and things, sharing insights and culture and technical things to create these rigs that eventually act as an AI agent. So interesting stuff. And then you have the ARC token, which we're going to talk about, feedback, rewards. I got a complete page there to talk to you about more about that, because of course we're going to talk about tokenomics, AI blockchain ecosystem. It is run on the blockchain, completely open ledger, on-chain integration. And then again, why do we need on-chain integration? It's all about its utility, guys. Okay, so the earning capabilities, what is it all about? Like, is there a way to earn? And there is, and it's all about being a service provider, right? If you're a service provider, you're going to get a cut of the fees. We talked about that, 85% or something like that. And being on the blockchain allows everybody to see exactly what's happening with those tokens, what's happening with the transactions and all of that. And because of that, that's the main utility right now that I can see. Because why couldn't they just accept credit card payments to use their services? They could have. But then how do you keep track? How do you pay or reward individuals to incentivize them to come in and build these services for AI agents and rig building and all this kind of stuff? So ultimately, this tokenization is literally the incentivizer to get people active here, and then based on that, the token also can be used to engage with their services and deploy AI agents yourself. Okay, so that whole ecosystem, it's enough. Again, there's a lot more that could be added with regards to utility regarding governance. That would be awesome, but that's what it is. Anyways, here we can see that there's a forge, which is quite interesting, because we start to really boil it down. What is ARC? And ARC literally is an AI agent launchpad. Okay, it allows people to create their own AI agents using these services, these little blocks of characteristics that you can create, that developers create, and then. But ultimately, if you want to tokenize your agent, you need to basically provide some liquidity. And if you go here in Forge and you go about Forge, and I'm going to quickly do that, and you can see what it is. It takes you right around here. Arc Forge is a streamlined token launch platform built atop Meteor's dynamic liquidity market maker DLMM and integrated with Jupiter routing through Arc Forge Handshake project. So it seems like it is a launch pad of tokens as well. So for you to be able to create a token similar to what Pump.Fund does, and in the sense that you create your token, but then after you have to attach this token to your agent. Is that what they're building here? So a one-stop shop deployment platform similar to, let's say, Waifu or Top Hat or something like that, where you're basically creating a token and attaching it to your agent. Is this the case? Now, I do see that this is what they're going with, right? This makes sense, right? To adding liquidity to an agent and building a token. Cyber Collective, this is the complex handshake for it. Again, seem to manage their tokens with distinct advantages such as deeper liquidity, reliability, built-in defense against sniper bots. So you can see that this is like a Pump.Fund scenario. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this is what I'm getting from it, right? So documentation may be a little bit more clear to understand what Forge is. This is new, as you can see, so maybe there's a little bit of work there. And let's get back into the tokenomics. So I'm doing my best here to truly understand what's going on here with what they're trying to provide, and I think I got the majority of it based on their documentation. Now, if we go on to what ARC is as a token, what is it? Again, why do we need a token? Well, I think their major proposition here is to make a marketplace. and to tokenize that marketplace. And that marketplace is going to be driven by this token, where individuals that produce services that can be sold on the marketplace ultimately gain rewards. Now, the rewards are based on transactions. The transactions through Rhizome do get increased over time because people need Rhizome to keep that seamless integration, and they're going to get rewarded. The rewards that go through Rhizome are going to be redistributed to different service providers and so on. So I understand the utility of the token, but let's take a look at the launch and the overall distribution. Circulating supply, 90% is already in circulation. Okay, fairly launched. I appreciate that, and available to the world. This ensures a wide distribution and community ownership. However, the aggregators like CoinGecko does say that its circulation is pretty much almost fully in circulation. Its total didn't meet its max, which means that there's some tokens that could be still released or minted, or there's a disconnect here somehow, some way with a few tokens. Not a lot, so I'm not too concerned, but nonetheless, because we're talking about a completely fairly fair launch, and which is quite healthy, okay, for any project. Now, ARC pool size, it's only 5.5%. The prize pool for participants, for winners, and for experiments and all of that, this is to incentivize participation. I like that. You know, growing market participation is difficult, and no better way to, you know, grease it up with a few tokens and a bit of a treasury prize pool. That's cool, but who makes the decisions on who receives that? Who receives the pool and the prizes and all of that? This is a bit of a thing, right, that you should consider. Maybe it should be a voting based system or something like that. And then the team development of the rig framework. So the team needs to get some tokens. We are aware of that. You know, it's only 4.5%. I think it's fair, but even more so, it's vested over 1 year to ensure long-term alignment and prevent market disruption. I think that's safe. I think that's you know, humble. I think it's fine, right? So we have to understand that the prize pool will be released at the end of each ARC experiment. So whenever you have an ARC experiment, as soon as it's done, you get some, you know, you apply, I guess, or something like that, or maybe you don't, and they just reward you based on your experiments and so on. So not bad, you know. At least, you know, the majority of it is out there in circulation, and I can imagine a good portion of being held in liquidity on exchanges. Let's go down. Now you can see the team's escrow accounts. There's full transparency here, of course, as a fairly fair launch. Why not? If you went through that route, you may as well. And the good news is that at least they have a revenue stream that can be used to redistribute some of that revenue into the team, or you know, operating costs and things like that, like we discussed. But at least there's lots of transparency with regards to different tokens, wallet distribution, as you can see. So pretty good there, right? So let's jump right back into the tech. For those of you that might be interested a little bit into what Rhizome is and what it looks like, it's fairly new. I was able to get access here. I created one little test canvas to see what it looks like. It's just a drag and drop type of creator. As you can see, you can put an input, you know, you drag your inputs. I already had this one going. You can delete some of them just to show you what I mean. You can delete with your inputs, and you can put your notes and things like that, and outputs and templates. Let's see if this works. Sometimes you know, there's a bit of a delay sometimes, or maybe I need to put one of these inputs first. I don't know, guys, but as you can see, you know, it's supposed to be working. A little bit of a delay, maybe not. Guys, this is the way it is. This is what you get. This is what it's all about. Whether it works or it doesn't, you guys know, no editing here. This is what it is. Now, if you go to the dashboard, you got your different canvases and all of that. We'll go back into it and see if it kind of responded. And then you got the MCP, which is the current management and marketplace that they got. These are some of the services that they have to create. You got Discord capabilities, so you can create bots, actual agents or frameworks here. You know, song lyrics and different things that already exist. Now, again, this is all in early stages, so this is very bare bones. Like, there's no real marketplace at the current moment, so just testing and just trying to get things going. Let's see one more shot. There we go. We got a notepad. Maybe just a little bit of a delay, maybe, but let's try it again. Input, just too much delay. Run canvas. I don't even know. I didn't even run anything before, but that's it. It's completed. No running. Input again. No. Maybe AI. Let's see. Nothing. All right, guys, that's that. Now then, you also have the playgrounds. that we talked about. This is almost like an incubator scenario, and you can say applications. You can build modular and scalable LLM applications in Rust, and this is where you get the support for that to happen. If you're interested in building something, you get access to this playground, and there's an incubation concept here. That's about it. Now, if we get into some more of the tokenomics, okay, I think this is important because a lot of us think fair launch, that's fine and it's great, but I really want to discuss something about the contract. And if you notice that AI Rig Complex ARC, the token, is a token that was released and launched off of Pump.fun, which, guys, there's going to be some critical critique here because I think that's a bad mistake. I think that's not a good idea, especially if the team has the capabilities of creating a custom token. Now, I did contact one of the team members, and they did mention the reason being was easy, it's quick, and that was the majority of their explanation why is they chose to deploy a token via Pump.fun instead of creating a custom token. I think that was a bad idea. And there's limitations with pumped up fund tokens. And then a lot of it has to do or impacts the contract because a lot of the transactions fail. And this is unfortunate. So I'm going to show you what I mean here. If you look at the authority, it says pumped up fund token mint. This was the creator, first mint in December 10th, 2024. These are some of the tags, pumped up fund. But if you look at the token address, it has pump at the end, which those are pumped up fund projects. Okay, not a good thing. In addition to that, what I don't like is token holders are dropping. I'm not sure exactly what's the case there, but that's not a good thing. And then as we go down, we see that token distribution is not that bad. Okay, I'm just going to quickly show you the visual right here, and then we'll get back to that. Distribution is not that bad. We have a little bit of maybe too many tokens here for Gate. You can see that up 10 point, almost 11%, and there's a bit here drifting here. It's 11% for Gate. That's quite a bit of liquidity. And then there's Radium. You can see the majority of the liquidity right now is on Orca and Sol-based dexes and things like that. And then you have here, I'm not sure what this is all about. It looks like it's ARC. Maybe it's a wallet. I'm not sure. JDUS. I'm not sure what that is. But there's some bigger wallets here, 4.5%. And again, these are most likely all of these, right? These are Radium and Wintermute. These are VCs. These are MEXCs and things like that. So they're bigger wallets. But as soon as you get rid of all these bigger wallets, yeah, our token distribution is not bad. It's just still very clear that Gate holds a lot, and BitGet 5%, and this one right here, Radium, another 5%, another one for Radium, another one. I'm not. What is this? Winter Minute. You can, when you add all of these up, the exchanges hold a lot of liquidity. Let's hope that they treat them right. Let's put it that way. Okay, so now let's go back quick. And I want to show you one last thing. Now, if you go to transactions and back to this pumped up fund scenario, if you go to transactions and you see that you see all these red exclamation marks, those are failed transactions. And these are very common issues that pumped up fund contracts have, and it's because of the limitations that they are produced. They're minimal. They're transactions, especially when you have transactions happening at the same time. They collude. They basically they don't go through when they go at the same time, which is a problematic thing because as you get more transactions happening, what really happens is that you get all these failed transactions. It's not cool. Whereas if you did a custom, you could, custom launch or a custom token could prevent these things. And I'm going to discuss some more about this in a second. But for me, that's not a good thing. Now, if in the future they decide to migrate or create a new token, guys, it's not going to be a good thing. Why go through that? We've seen many projects that shift over to new tokens, then they go crazy volatile and things like that, and things happen. So maybe doing it right the first place might have been a better approach. Okay, so pumped up fund tokens, I'm on the fence about them. And to go on forward to prove to you that it is a pumped up project, this is the pumped up fund website, and you can see AI Rig Complex. It already reached its bonding curve. This is the current price, and this is the wallet distribution that I just spoken about, and these are people talking here with regards to the token. Unfortunate. I think that was a poor choice because now it's associated to meme culture, whereas maybe it could have been legitimately an actual project, AI project. Let's move on. Let's talk about the team. Why did the team make this decision? I really don't know. It's a solid team. It's a young team. It's a small team. We got a couple good. It seems like very Canadian based team. 9 associate members. We got a couple good individuals here as the founding team. Let's jump right into that. We got Jeff doing pretty good. Tachi, he's everywhere. I think he's the leader here. I'm not sure, but I do see his name across the internet with regards to ARC and his involvement, and you can see that he has experience here. Playgrounds Analytics Inc. co-founder, CEO at Playgrounds. Now you'll notice that none of this relates to ARC or Complex, right? This is the team, or this is the company, let's put it that way, that is currently deploying or basically creating our complex, right? So it is a centralized organization, right? This is the company, this is the group of individuals, right? So they're developers, they're a team of developers that are creating it, and it's under the name Playgrounds Analytics, it seems. Founder, Open Fusion, Southwest Research Institute. He's a research engineer. Interesting there. He's got lots of engineering experience in mechanical engineer, research technician, Texas Tech University. You can see this guy's stacked. He's got good stuff as an engineer, as a well-educated, good stuff there, and he's the co-founder of the company that's currently behind Complex. So Christoph, another one here, experience, CTO, co-founder of Playgrounds. Again, University of Hong Kong, McGill University, educated individual within computer science, software engineering, capable of deploying his own contract. I don't see why not, and I don't understand why that wasn't the case. But again, currently building a next favorite Rust AI agent library. Again, I'm not sure why. I almost get the sense like this crypto currency application was a secondary idea. They could have done it without a token, right? It was very easy, but maybe they said, okay, let's just put a token on it real quick, and at least we have something happening there. Guys, it's not a bad idea, but I think that it could have been done in a different way, in my opinion. Then you have this dude right here, Matthew, another engineer here, a product manager here at Playgrounds, permanent full-time. You can see engineer, analytics engineer, data science, poly lab teacher, okay, educate C++, Python. So there's a lot of good stuff here, 100%. Look, engineer at Ledger, great stuff, lots of talent. And this dude right here, another one, experience all over the place, the Graph technical advisor. So very common name, and that's machine learning intern. So young, but very, very capable team. 100%. So that's that, guys. A couple of the decisions that I kind of curious about, but that's how it is. Now their blog with regards to socials, you can see that the choice of theme, in my opinion, it gets a little bit tough to read, and it's a little bit distracting. So in my opinion, I think this needs to be revisited. But again, that's a marketing packaging type of idea. They have a lot of good posts, but the ones that matter to me most is their relationships with other projects, including the Solana Foundation. And unfortunately, the Solana Foundation does not verify any relationships. I contacted them myself, not with regards to this project, but in general. When doing deep dives on other projects, I wanted to know exactly if what the relationship meant, and if that relationship was actually a solid one. And the Solana Foundation doesn't release any information. So for me, it's like a little bit iffy, it's like, me deploying a smart contract on Ethereum and saying that I'm in partnership with Ethereum. That doesn't work like that, guys. So if you're part of the Solana Foundation and you're working with them within the incubator program, it would be nice to have some details as to what's happening there, and all the other logos that are placed on the website should have some links to some documentation and explanation as to what the relationships are about. And that's my side note there. This one right here, creating memories with Rig and Mongob, that's pretty good, because at least that's definitely one of their their partners or relationships that they have, one of them. So guys, feel free to check all of this. You can get lots of information here on their blog. It's very valuable. And their X account, it's not bad considering who they are and what they're about. You can see their contract is here, websites and all of that. And they got about 50,000 followers, pretty good. Their Telegram is quite active. I appreciate it. I was able to get a hold of one of the team members there, which is great. Their Discord is pretty dry, not much happening there, unfortunately, because I'm over the years of being in crypto, I've noticed that the Discord is where you make much higher quality connections and discussions, whereas the Telegram is just basically a dump off of ideas from everybody. And if it's just that what they're looking for, I think the quality of conversation is not gonna be achieved. So I think that maybe more effort needs to be put in the Discord. But again, that's my 2 cents, being here on social media and all that kind of stuff and community building. But overall, it's pretty good. I like its marketing. It gets lots of good engagement on its posts considering its size. 127 likes, 180 likes consistently, which is pretty good. And to be honest, even within my community, I'm getting a lot of individuals asking about the project and what it's all about and my opinion. So here it is, Arc Block doing pretty good. At the end of the day, seeing Arc and all of it, what it has to offer as a AI rig complex, I think it's pretty interesting. There's just some things that obviously we need to tidy up on. But guys, as you know, I do release a infographic, and we can definitely go through that in a little bit of detail here as a summary. Arc, it's a Solana-based project, AI, intelligence, artificial intelligence, AI agent platform, that allows people to create their own AI agents and also create various services for the AI agents and within a marketplace and all that kind of stuff. I think it's great. I think it's interesting. Their ecosystem is very young, very small. Rig, open source, Rust-based AI framework, and playgrounds incubating AI products and projects. Great. Rhizome is an app store. So I think its ecosystem is still very young, and we're not getting, I don't see much being created yet. As proof of concept. So maybe this is something of which we should keep an eye on for when that actually happens. The score is low because there's nothing really happening there. Their infrastructure is young, and this is what you get, until we get proof of concept and some major projects being released to see how it works. It's all very speculative. Utility pays for services deploying and running agents, pay for execution of tasks on the services, particularly Rhizome, incentivizes for ecosystem growth, which is good because then the team uses some of that revenue to continue fueling the fire here to make that ecosystem grow, so more agents can be deployed and be used as that one-stop shop place to create AI agents. Interesting roadmap. So the roadmap is good. I think a little bit more detail would be awesome. They're entering phase 2, in my opinion, it seems like, to the Rhizome era. Phase 3, full ecosystem with marketplace. Obviously, that's what they want. I would have loved a more detail than that because this is just a very general statement. And then by 2026, aims to be universal hub for AI services. Obviously, they want to be that's very, but not enough. How are you going to get there? What steps are you taking? Why should I be bullish? Why is it the case that I should be a token holder in the next little while while you achieve that, right? So again, more specifics, the better it is, type of thing. And the team, look, the team could be considered not doxed because they don't formally say that the team is involved with, the complex. However, it is mentioned that the team that is behind Complex is, basically behind that company that I just explained to you, the playground. Ultimately, this is where things get a little bit vague. Are they trying to remove themselves from the equation while still being part of the equation? There's a bit of vagueness there, but regardless, the young, small team with lots of talent. What I'm trying to say here, back to what I just said, is why doesn't a Complex have a LinkedIn page of their own with their faces on it? Right? That's what I mean. Like, why not? Why not make it a very open thing? Complex. So basically, they have a young, small team with lots of talent, computer science, engineering, mathematics, industry experience, the works. They got it. They're good. But again, as a young, small team, they have a lot to prove, right? Um, Socials, they got about 60K X followers, good engagement on their posts. Telegram is active. Discord needs attention. That's for sure. There was a post on their Discord in the last little while, guys. That wasn't very good. Some feedback from one of the users that is very disgruntled with the progress of the team, and then a response from one of the founders that was very like, putting them straight. And I get it, this emotional space, particularly when you're invested or you bought some tokens and the price comes down, you're like, but what is the team doing to create catalysts here for the price? And I'll tell you this, guys, as an engineer, software engineer myself, roadmaps are tough. The accountability is tough because things happen, guys. Engineering doesn't always work out the first go, and you got to work on this and work on that. And there's always, when you think you're done, you're not done, and there's more things that come around, and it's just an ever-ending infinite loop of work. And a lot of the times, and then a lot of people don't look at the broader aspect, the broader environment here in the crypto space, and noticing that all projects are struggling with regards to its market cap. So it's not exclusive to AI rig. It's just a matter of fact that the market in general is slumpy. However, guys, it is new, it is fresh, it's very speculative, and we have to understand that risk on assets do behave this way. And yes, it is very dependent on what the team delivers to create those catalysts, to create benchmarks and things. And in the meantime, you're going to see a lot of disgruntled individuals when you don't see the price meet expectations. So the blog should have descriptions of relationships. That's one way to increase the stability of the price, is to speculate on what it's working on and who it's working with. And without those clear descriptions that are readily available, and guys, I'm not going to be digging for 5 hours to try to find some random blog post. If it's not readily available on the website or on the blog, searchable, ready to go, guys, it's not a good thing, right? So you can't expect a retail investor, someone that's new in this space and wants to do a bit of research, to basically be an investigator, a private investigator. It's not going to work like that. You let more friction the team provides, the harder it is to get people bullish. Just that's the way it is. Tokenomics, yeah, fairly fair launch. About 90% is out there, in the sense that to the general public. The rest of it is coupled within the prize pools and treasury, and that is being released each after each ARC experiment. And the team holds about 4.5%, which is vested over 1 year. But generally speaking, guys, this is a fairly fair launch. Most of the tokens are out there, and so on and so forth. With regards to tokens, and so on, and we talked about its utility. This is where the utility and the tokens themselves, it would be nice to have some sort of a more utility in to provide some tokenomics that address or incentivize users to get involved as well from the decision making perspective. So a DAO or some sort of governance program would be awesome. Relationships, Solana Foundation, okay, maybe incubation. We talked about a little bit about the Mongob relationship. I got involved with regards to Rust implementation and shuttle developer tooling. And this is obviously interesting stuff, but more information would be awesome with regards to all the other logos that they have on their website. They also have listed on many exchanges. However, on their website, they don't have many of these listed. And in the sense that I'm able to find a chart, a Binance chart on TradingView, but apparently Binance, on their website says that they don't have ARC listed, but there is a chart. I'm a bit confused on whether the Binance is actually, it is listed on Binance or not, but it's not on Coinbase. However, it is listed on many other exchanges. So this is the way it is, guys. When there's ambiguity and uncertainty, yeah, it's up to the team to make that clear and provide that opportunity to gain that certainty, even if it's a small degree. Now, tokenomics wise, it's good in the sense that we know trading volume could be a little bit higher, but we know that trading volume in the last little while has been pretty poor. Supply and total supplies, full circulation, max 1 billion. So some tokens need to be released somehow. Maybe they're vested or not. We talked about tokenomics. Regardless, it's a very small amount to worry about anyway. There's no risk of dilution for the most part. Market cap is 45 million. It's very, very small, guys. It's considered a micro cap, so definitely volatile. Forget about its price because it's irrelevant in this case when it's a market cap of 45 million, right? And then of course, based on the date, guys, just understand some of these numbers could be a bit different given that, the volatility. Okay, so go check out the actual facts on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. So my verdict, guys, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to actually, really place a verdict on, and it's because it's so new. It's so new, and you want to give it the benefit of the doubt, and you want to understand that, when you're talking about, speculation in small projects, you want to give it all the benefits that possible. You don't want to give it any friction. You want it to say, okay, yeah, your idea is cool, but when the back end, when there's issues with back end infrastructure, back end decisions that were made, it doesn't look very healthy, because it's like putting lipstick on a pig. I've used this term before, there's this concept before, is that when the back end is not looking great, why are you going to try to mask it by making it look right when the back end doesn't look good? And it stems from many aspects. So it is an AI agent platform, okay, launchpad slash builder slash, and then there's this whole pumped up fund contract concept, and it is a pumped up fund project. Now, from that perspective, is it going to inherit this meme coin culture that may not be healthy for its sustainability in the future? Is it a joke or is it a not? If you want people to take the project seriously, don't associate with meme culture. Meme culture is all fun and games until you get wrecked. And if that's something that you want the general public to perceive you as, it's not going to be helpful for your sustainability. Never mind the tech aspect of pump.fun contracts. Okay, so there's two aspects here: marketing, communication, being associated to pump.fun, and in addition, from the tech aspect from pump.fun. Okay, so exchanges hold about approximately 20% of the liquidity, whether it be DEX exchange in liquidity pools or centralized exchanges. Now, it's spread across many of them. That's a good thing. So we're decentralizing this liquidity, but we just still have to understand that, the majority of the token holders are not just one whale, right? That holds 20% or even 5%. There's a lot of these tokens are liquidity for exchanges. It's a good thing, bad thing, okay, whatever, but it needs to exist, guys. How else are we going to be, trading and all of that, or buying and selling? Let's put it that way. Service provider earning capabilities is the core utility. Okay, that's for me is the core utility, is that if you become a service provider for AI agents, you get rewarded, and you get rewarded in ARC. Okay, so that's the core utility. Everything else could have been done with a Visa, in my opinion. Now, if there's more utility in the future, I understand that, and it's great. If they introduce governance or anything else, that would be awesome. Or more aspects to the infrastructure that maybe is still in the works, good. But at the current moment, and still not even at the current moment, because their marketplace is not active, there's still a lot of work to be done with regards to its utility. Okay, so many relationships, but no documentation regarding the details. Solana Foundation relationship it doesn't confirm much. At the end of the day, guys, I've done this type of research before, and Solana Foundation doesn't verify anything with regards to the relationship and what they're working on, and neither does the team. So incubation is not enough. I've seen plenty of incubated projects with Solana that did very poorly, and some of them did very well. So it doesn't say much. Okay, so let's be real about that. And then a couple of concepts here. Back to centralization and decentralization. Their infrastructure is completely AWS at the current moment. Was confirmed. All right, so centralized. Organization, no DAO, no governance. They call the shots. Centralized. Token distribution, decentralized, fairly fair. Okay, that's pretty good. And nothing to be really concerned about there with regards to dilution. During high demand, this is back to the contract. Pumped up fund contracts may hit compute budget limits, needs higher compute units. When you do a custom contract, you can provide more units, and in that case reduce the opportunity for failure of the transactions. And I've already seen on chain that there's already transactions failing, unfortunately. So they fail due to account contention or parallel access issues when too many contracts or transactions are happening at the same time. They collude. They basically they don't work out, guys, and this is the problem. So pumped up fund contracts are very poor implemented contracts, and I'm surprised with such a well established team with lots of background in computer science and Rust implementation, all of that, they couldn't whip up a contract in half a day. I'm very curious as to why that was the case. Now, it could be that they maybe Web3 is their second or third focus, and their tech is AI and their focus is AI. But if you're going to be here in the crypto space, you really need to think about these things. AI data is not in full custody of the user. Guys, that kind of leads, because I've been doing research on AI agents and AI projects, and a lot of them that have deep in infrastructure are promising that when they do release proper AI agents, you will own your AI agent and all the data associated to it. That's interesting, right? And because it will be a deep in infrastructure, the actual AI agent will also be within a framework that it's on the internet without any control of a third party. It'll be forever. For example, let's talk about what Arweave talks about, and even talking about other projects like Near Protocol and so on. So these are interesting concepts, and I'm curious as how the progression of this project is going to go. Should have this been taken care of and established prior, or are they doing it after? I don't know. And then API maintenance is dependent on the team, guys. It's a choke point for me. I've seen this in action where complete AI agents are out there struggling because APIs are changing and the team is not fast enough to correct it, or the team just doesn't know how to. And this is a big problem, definitely. So, once I start thinking about it, okay, modestly speaking, let's say, because it's a market cap is small, let's say that, ARC hits a market cap of 500 million, which is very possible, a nice 10x. Very possible for a micro cap. But again, guys, no certainties here. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know the future, but I can just say this based on previous markets and alt seasons where we saw fresh capital into the space. Projects that are small market cap can easily pump, to levels that are right around 10x, right around $500 million market cap. So it's not like, we're going to expect it to go crazy. But then again, based on market cap, it could still do very, very well and hit about 40 cents. Guys, this would be the ideal scenario. This is the ideal scenario. It's it's a projection based on what could happen on ideal conditions in this market. And to be honest, the 7 out of 10, I think it's very generous. I think the team has a lot of work to do here still. The idea is there. I've seen ideas like this, and I think that they're one of the better executions with regards to packaging and tokenomics and everything, but still a little bit of work that needs to be done. Overall, AI rig complex, pretty interesting, no doubt. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the price action. Ultimately, what do we expect here for AI rig? It's down back to the bottom of the range. We got a nice pump to the upside here on the 4-hour, but the question is this a dead cat bounce, or are we going to get some support once again so we can go to higher levels? Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. So I want to quickly go on the daily time frame just to kind of see what this looks like big picture. You can see that the sell-off was real. I don't like this type of price action. It's very clear that there was a pump and dump scenario. Okay, people just quickly wanted to de-risk quickly. And this is what happens, guys. You can see the volume into this, right? And I know this volume is green right now, but if you think about it, it's not about green. It's about the fact that it sold off significantly from its top. And the structure, the way it changed character, higher highs and higher lows to lower lows and lower highs. This was a nice little distribution where people strategically sold off and then eventually came down back to create a floor price. So the floor price is probably the most interesting thing, because early investors, early stakeholders, all of that, VCs, blah, 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 whoever's involved, they want to make their profit risk-free, and they use a lot of individual hype, marketing, and all of that. Based on what I've seen, they use all these individuals as exit liquidity. But maybe it's just about just pure transactional in the sense, yeah, they want to exit. They want to exit. That usually VCs, that's their mentality. Then we start looking at the reality of the rest of us out here. I'm glad to say that I don't buy green pumps, so I'm not involved in this whatsoever. But now that we are here at this level, I will consider it because the sell pressure is over for the most part, as we can see. And the reason why I can say the sell pressure should be over is because we're currently at this level. And as soon as we break below this bottom here, which is at about 2.7 cents, guys, we continue a downtrend into the abyss. And that's not a good look, right? Yeah, we could sweep lows. We can come down and get some people, wrecked, because I can imagine a few stop losses being there. Maybe we come down, sweep the lows, back test in spring, and we get, moving to the upside. And beautiful volume gap here that will allow the price to hit about 15.5 cents. Beautiful opportunity here. No, very little resistance based on this imbalance in the chart. Beautiful, nice volume right down here. Ask yourself, what are these goons doing? And then you start looking at structure. Guys, does this structure look good to you? Look at this. It's painted perfectly. Now, could this be painted based on market maker participation? Possible. Could this be a scenario where maybe literally we come down, sweep the lows, and then people get into shorts right into here, and then Uno reverse, shorts get wrecked, and then we start pumping to the upside? It could be possible, right? So this is the thing where, things get a little difficult, because it does look like it's a prime area to manipulate the market. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, from a spot perspective, if you're accumulating on spot, you can withstand a lot abuse at this level, because really there's no liquidation and that kind of thing. So again, not financial advice here, guys. Be careful. Very risky, small market cap, very volatile, and at a very important level that manipulation could happen. Spot is probably your best bet, and don't bet the farm. Going slowly, DCA as best as you can as you build a reversal confirmation. Guys, there's no reversal. In fact, this is distribution. In fact, this is a sign of sell-off. This is an inverse head and shoulder, and it is currently nestling at the neckline. If it breaks this neckline and it confirms a lower low, guys, it's not a good look. Okay, it's not a good look. I'll just say this though, if it doesn't, and even if it just does that sweep and backtest in spring, this is considered support, and this becomes a pivot point structure, right? Where we saw a low, lower low, maybe we come down here, higher low, and then we bounce and make a higher high, and then higher lows and higher highs. So until we get a confirmed change of character, which would require us to make a higher high here, generally speaking, or even a confirmed higher low, something. Give us something, guys. Then we can start being a little bit more confident. But at this current moment, it's all based on risk to reward. Your risk getting into right now is that it drops below here, stop yourself out. The reward, guys, just look up. You got resistance here, you got resistance here. You put your trade set up, you start looking at what it looks like. You put your stop loss down here so you don't, take too much risk and you don't get hurt and lose money. And then ultimately you start looking at here, okay, we're up 136%. Here we're up, a little bit more, doubling, tripling, or, with very little resistance. The risk to reward is healthy, as you can see. Okay, guys, so ultimately that's what it's all about. And if we drop below, you take a small loss and you have to move on. That's the only way to do it. Now, if we look at oscillators, let's take a look at momentum and trend oscillators here for a second. You can see that, and it's not just ARK, it's a lot of projects. They got slightly overbought and they're rolling over on the daily. EMAs are facing down on the trend oscillator. Not a good look. It's not what we want to see here. And you can see the expansion coming down. But the good news is that we're almost completely oversold, which means that we could start looking for a reversal structure to the upside eventually. And as you can see, last time we came down very bearish. We got a little bit of a bullish pump right into here. Now we're in a bearish scenario. Let's see if this attempt on the bears is weak. And if it's so weak, it gives us an indication that yes, this could be that floor price where the bears cannot make a lower low. And that's the evidence that we want. And getting it on the daily is massive, right? It's a higher time frame structure that we're building. So let's keep that in mind. Now, if we get closer going down to lower time frames like the 6 hour, you'll see that the 6 hour is already oversold. As you can see, already oversold. Right? Even the 4 hour already oversold. In fact, it's already trying to move up. on volatility. So maybe we move up, maybe we come down again. On the next reset, we can start seeing the 4-hour pump and start seeing the 6-hour actually lift up. And that's where we get the, maybe another dead cat bounce, lower high, or maybe invalidate this head and shoulder formation completely, where a lot of people entering shorts are going to get wrecked. And the market tends to want to play these games. This is too beautiful of a structure to market makers not to completely manipulate new traders looking for perfect head and shoulders formations. So be careful with being horizontal liquidity here, because you look at the point of control, easy stop loss, and all of that. Okay, so this is the moment. Now, as we lead into a new week, we can definitely see a reversal here, but at the current moment, guys, we're seeing the total market cap coming down. We're seeing Bitcoin, Ethereum not looking the greatest. I think it's time to be really, really, really calculated and be careful, because, guys, any opportunities should be accumulation opportunities. However, you don't want to be overdoing it, right? DCAing nice and slow, 30, 30, 40, and waiting for reversal structures is good. There's nothing here just yet. Maybe on the 4-hour, you can start looking at something, but not even, guys. Still lower lows and lower highs even on the 4-hour. So how much lower are you going to go? The 15-minute? 15-minute, okay, sideways. No higher highs or higher lows. This is what I'm talking about, guys. You got to be very, very patient. So the daily, again, could get its bounce here. It would be awesome right around here. And the stop loss down there gives you a good risk to reward ratio opportunity. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive, massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. I'm going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. EST talking about crypto news and price action. And if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.